Hello viewers, and thanks for joining us on Full Spinnaker Ahead. This is a series of episodes in 2025 where we travel up the east coast, and this particular one's part 2, and we're in Sydney harbour. And before we go any further, the video clip shows exactly what Sydney harbour can be like, just a busy place on the waterway, not only on the scheduled times like weekends and so forth, but also when the wind picks up. There's always people out there having a sail, which is really impressive. A sail or a kite, or I mean, there's seaplanes getting around here too, landing in amongst all the crisscrossing of airfoils and stuff like that. They're everywhere. And then you've got the ferries zooming in and out with a right of way type of aura about them, and it's just an amazing place. The wind picks up and you'll get foilers out there mixing it to see how they can handle it, and of course sailboats. One time I remember in the middle of the harbour entrance in pretty big swell after a storm, there were a couple of not dinghies, but they're probably a bit more advanced than dinghies, but disappearing between the waves, and they were out there for a training session. It's really amazing. But yeah, so as far as Toucan goes, we've been having a few problems with the solar. As I mentioned in the last episode, we picked up a new MPPT controller. Well, we picked a pair of them up got to it at once, replaced them, and then decided that we needed a panel upgrade. Basically, there was one pair that weren't producing the correct amount, and instead of just replacing the one panel which was defective, we decided the whole lot needed a bit of an upgrade. So we actually found a good way of sourcing these panels. We found that there's quite a lot of projects being done with solar panels, and large projects, and they've always seemed to have a few over, and then they try and sell them off cheap. So we just looked on Facebook and found this out, and yeah, for $120 we could buy these brand new panels for their 440 watt panels. Well, that's what they say they are, but anyway, so we launched into that in Rose Bay, anchored there, had all the boating life going on around us and the seaplanes landing, and Alf was giving me a hand until he had to leave a bit later to get back home for some commitments. But he was a big help, and also a mastermind, and he's a theoretical genius, really. So yeah, please stay tuned for the rest. We'll get into the solar panels, have a look a bit more at what happens on Sydney Harbour, and also we happen to have the light show going on as well for the week in Sydney. Been doing lots of canopy repairs where the stitching's just let go. Gets reasonably pretty old. Canopy materials are even starting to look worn. I think the best way to do it is, when you know that the stitching's compromised, just restitch the whole lot so that you get like a season out of it. Try and go for the season. I mean, you can always just repair little things as you go, but that's how I would do it in the future. Initiated the solar panel change because of poor performance. Decided to get the panels in Sydney. We went from 325 watt to 440 watt panels, slightly larger, and sourced them on Facebook. As you see, we're loading them here just outside the little factory that we got them from, and it worked out really good. So back to the boat with our Bunnings high ute, and to fit the panels. Yeah, g'day. It's the stormy weather in Sydney's just finished, and we bought some new solar panels at a little place in Smithfield for $100 each, 440 watt new solar panels, and got them on the boat a couple of days ago. Used a Bunnings ute to get them here. We had them on the roof. So we've just got the generator on, charging the batteries, and the whole boat looks like a bit of a workstation. Got 3 panels off. The aluminium into these bottom nuts is all seized. So we've got a plan for that. We're soaking them in diesel and heating them with a heat gun. And Alf, the chief supervisor, how's he rate it? Is he going to be successful?
Oh, wise one, isn't it?
Oh, wise one. No, that's right. Sorry. Oh, wise one. Very next to knowledgeable. Knowledge. Anyway, no. Oh, wise one. Oh, wise one. What do you think the what do you think the outcome will be?
Oh, there's only one outcome.
Success.
Success.
Success. That's what we want to hear. All right. Just removing the Starlink panel, which has to be extended at later date, and removing the last old panel, storing it on the front of the boat. And then the next job is to get on to extending the frame, which we bought some aluminium extrusions from the Mega Bunnings store. Never seen anything like the Mega Bunnings store before in Sydney. It's absolutely huge. They've got lots of things. Got a lot of the new anchors from there as well. Got the heat gun out with the theory that we can salvage a few of these aluminium nuts, but really it's out with the old, in with the new in this case, because they're going to be there for a long time, so we might as well just chuck some new ones on. And so then you just continued on putting on panels. More like the mechanical part of the whole project was just put the panels on. A little bit of attention to the little clips that hold down the panel, put a little bit of rubber in between there. Yeah, just secured them on in the right orientation for when you do the electrical wiring. But other than that, everything was going along pretty good. Well, the conditions were pretty stormy, so the boat's rocking up and down a fair bit, and there's a bit of rain here and there coming to greet us and make the job just a little bit more challenging. But we got through it and got the last panel on. And the next part of the whole journey was basically to wire it up. Just securing the last panel with a specially made endless thread bolt. That's always handy for variable lengths, given a different situation. You can make them whatever length you like. Works really well. A bit of scaffold to try and get out to the very end anchors. It's funny how you can't really support anything on water unless it's a boat. But anyway, yeah, just got out there and secured those last ones off, and voila, there we have it, the Starlink on the right there, and then 4 solar panels over Sydney Harbour. Awesome. When connecting up solar panels, you've got to be careful because they're all live, so they're producing electricity, and if you're mucking around with wires and you short them, they'll spark and maybe wreck something or hurt yourself. So you either got to have them covered up or not connected, which can be a little bit difficult at times. So a precaution to take, I'm just soldering up the ends of the wires that go into the isolation switch. So the 2 right hand panels are hooked up in series, and then they go into the isolation switch, and then the 2 left hand panels are the same, they go into the isolation. So you can actually just turn that whole lot off from going further down to the MPPT controllers. So the MPPT controllers in my boat control 2 panels hooked up in series. 2 on one controller and 2 on the other controller. And then from there it goes to parallel into the battery. One thing I forgot to mention, you can see my little workbench here, is that you knock any of those off and it's straight into the water. And I was being a bit cocky here with I didn't have the tinny you can see on the water out there. Normally I'd pull that up underneath as a bit of a catch basket or something like that. So solar panels done. We're off to the light show. And I've got this bit of footage here of how the crew out of the Sydney Harbour ferry boats throw their rope over the bollard and then also loop it to the boat's bollard with, yeah, it looks really cool. They just go wrap it around and then they even do the crisscross. I've been trying that, but I just can't seem to get it like that. Anyway, must be the rope must have some memory or something. Anyway, off to the light show. So just take a look at this, the Sydney Quays and the Sydney Harbour Bridge and the Opera House all lit up in special lights for a festival. Just wonderful. Smelling the roses here, just looking at the iconic Opera House, and I just got to say that there's no doubt in my mind that this has got to be one of the most beautiful buildings I've ever seen. Good morning. It's Thursday morning in Sydney Harbour, Rose Bay, Sydney Harbour, and we're going to get going today. We've got a bit of a, I suppose, an experiment. We've got a westerly wind. We're sitting in the harbour, and on Willie, I'll just show you, I'll just get Willie fired up. I refer to Windy as Willie a lot. I don't know why, but please excuse me. I actually mean the app Windy on my phone. What I'm thinking is that, I mean, Willie's saying basically that. So, plenty of wind, Plenty of wind up at Sydney. There's Sydney there. But lots of green. Lots of green just off the coast because we've got a westerly. And I'm thinking, well, I suppose I'm thinking that's just right. But I'm just also interested in to see what are they actually like out there. So I'm just going to go fly up to Pittwater, 20 miles up the coast, and pull in there at Mooring Bay, and then onto Nelson the next day. So I suppose I'm just trying to see whether that southwester blowing off the land is that sheltered as it shows on this from the 25 to 30 knots out at sea, and yeah, so we'll go from there. All right, let's see how that goes. I'll let you know.
It's rousing, isn't it?
So the answer to that question, what will the sea be like with the wind blowing from the southwest when it's meant to be blowing 25 to 30 knots out there? Well, it's good. It's what Willie says. It's 10 to 20 knots, or 10 to 15. We're doing 6 knots, but in a big swell. We're just about to get to Pittwater now, and Joey's a little bit worried, but she gets worried a lot these days, quite quickly. And we're just going to go to Pittwater, which is here. We're going to go around in there and around. We would have actually been a good option to go to Nelson today. It's 80 miles. We still wouldn't have got there during the day, but we would have been there before midnight. But now I've taken this option. I just hope that we get enough wind tomorrow. By early afternoon, the solar panels, the new change, had already charged the batteries fully very early on, which is a massive plus. So mission successful. Just leaving Mooring Bay, Pittwater, heading to Nelson, Port Stephens. It's the flood time. It's been a flood time here, so we've got to be careful that we don't get in trouble with outflowing water and all the debris. It's been a big swell. It should be 3 to 4 metres today, and I don't anticipate any trouble getting into Nelson with any of those conditions, so I'm just going to go for it and then reassess Foster, Tuncurry or Tuncurry Foster. I had a look at the webcam yesterday and it was pretty flat, but then I looked at Port Macquarie's webcam and it was horrible. So, you know, of the bar, the webcam of the bar. I'm going to have to really make sure that conditions are right. And the other thing with Tuncurry Foster, I don't know how much floodwater they got, and they've got courtesy moorings and moorings on both sides, but it's a pretty tight little harbour. So you just got to make sure that there's actually facility to moor there too. So I'll have to ring up and ask about that too. But just this stage is Nelson. The wind's dropping down, and we should be right, but we probably really need to get going today, otherwise it's just going to be light and variable until the next blow.